I've just been reading about some of the open carry statistics in the United States. If you're not familiar with open carry, it relates to gun legislation in which basically people are permitted to carry firearms publicly. Now, obviously, as a strong supporter of gun control, I think this is an insane idea. I should say each state, it's not black and white. Obviously, different states have different regulations, different exact legislation, but as if it wasn't obvious, here are just a few of the problems that can possibly come about from this open carry idea. First of all, how on earth are other citizens, i.e. who don't feel the need to brandish a lethal weapon, how are they supposed to differentiate between a good guy with a gun and someone about to commit a spree killing? I've seen some open carry activists actually walk down streets where there's school children brandishing their weapon, which obviously terrifies the children and their parents. Now these people will say, oh, we're peaceful, we're not going to do anything. And maybe they're not, but the point is, how are people supposed to know? If you see someone with a gun who's not a police officer, or not a soldier, or not a hunter, then you can only guess what their purpose might be. So that's just a visceral thing, but there's more serious problems than that. I've heard of open carry being permitted in the UK. We say pubs, I guess bars you would say. Alcohol and guns, loaded guns, in the same environment, that just seems absolutely a recipe for disaster. You can imagine a situation. Some guys have a heated argument over, say, a pool match. It gets out of hand, one of them pulls out a gun, and that's it. You have a homicide. Take away the guns, you might have a bloody nose. I mean, that's the sort of situation we're looking at. And then there's other scenarios, in a public place, some idiot forgets to lock their gun, then it accidentally goes off, and they either shoot themselves or some other innocent passerby, whether in a place like Starbucks. It's just, I really cannot grasp the mentality of people who think this is a good idea. And clearly the people who absolutely feel the need to brandish a firearm to show the Second Amendment, they're living in a very paranoid mindset. I mean, they must see shadows around every corner. These people are just, I think they're dangerous, because when you have someone who's clearly that paranoid, then that they feel they need to carry a lethal weapon every single place they go. I know there's a debate about protecting property, there's a debate about that, but this to me is just ludicrous. I mean, surely I think even a lot of gun owners would agree with me on that. It's just madness. And even the NRA, which is an organisation I have contempt for, even the NRA has been reluctant to support these people. Now I've come across another group calling themselves American Spring, or the Patriots of American Spring, something like Operation American Spring. Now on the website, I don't know if they're directly affiliated to any gun lobby groups, but certainly in all their sort of PR stunts they seem to be dressing up like revolutionary soldiers brandishing weapons. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of their grievances, or one of the things they want to campaign on. And on their website they go on to a list of quotations about the Constitution, and their objective is to remove Obama, Biden, Reid, McConnell, Boehner, Pelosi and Attorney General Holder. And I don't have time to read the whole website, but I'll put a link to that so you can see the source. Now they say it's going to be a peaceful protest, and they claim they're going to get 10 million people. Yeah, good luck with that. They'll be lucky if they get a few 100,000. 10 million is clearly insane. Now, let me make this clear. I've always supported the right for any citizen in any country to peacefully protest against the government, and they claim they're going to be peaceful. But the fact is, when you have people advocating for guns, more often than not, they're not peaceful. They use intimidating tactics. We've already seen this with the open carry crowd. who, for example, have violently intimidated parents against gun violence, things like that. They're just bullies and thugs who think that hiding behind a weapon gives them a right to do as they please. And in my opinion, they're cards, because without their weapon, they're shit. That's it. They use that in order to try and shout down and intimidate anyone who has a problem with the fact that America has a very serious problem with gun violence, and anyone that speaks out. And unfortunately, thanks to their thuggish behaviour, all you have to do is say gun control in America and it's a dirty word. And I think that's really, really tragic, because clearly the United States has a very serious problem with gun violence. I'm not going to go into all the issues here, I don't have time, because frankly there's so much bullshit coming from some aspects of the gun lobby, and I'm not going to demonize the entire gun lobby. I'm not going to say they're all the same. I know there's common sense gun owners out there. I know there's decent people who are law-abiding citizens, they're also gun owners. I have no problem with them, and I try to emphasize that in every video. But if you're a rational person, surely you would agree that an unstable person carrying a loaded weapon around in a public area is not safe. That's common sense. And there's absolutely no necessity for it. So these people are basically talking about revolution, and they claim they're going to be peaceful, but that remains to be seen. There's many issues that they could protest on. They could protest about police brutality. They could protest about the NSA. There's many areas in America that are serious problems for grievance against the government. So what do they decide to go on? The gun issue. To me, that just sums it up. They're talking about dictatorship, like Obama's an unelected dictator. He's a democratically elected president. I just think it's an odious distortion of actual dictatorships. There's many areas where they could protest on in terms of civil liberties in the United States, but it really baffles me why they have to choose guns. Obama's been in office for 5 years and these morons still have their firearms. So the notion that he's going to take away your guns is just... I really am, I have enormous respect for the United States. I think it's a great country, but when I see some of the stuff going on over there in terms of the gun issue, I feel so grateful that I live in a country that doesn't have the same sort of gun cult. And I make no apologies for using that term, because that's how it comes across. This obsessive focus on firearms. And, these people will really stoop lower and lower. I heard about one case yesterday whereby someone had actually stolen the memorial from one of the parents from Sandy Hook, one of these so-called truthers who believes that Sandy Hook was all set up as a government conspiracy. They stooped so low that they actually stole a memorial in order to try and make a point. And to me that's just despicable. So these people really will stoop that low. I mean, what we have in the United States is a situation where you have clearly paranoid, unstable people brandishing firearms like out of control little bullies, and just, it sickens me. And I really have enormous respect for the gun control advocates who are trying to do something about this problem. They're not saying take away all the guns. What they're saying is let's have some common sense here.